I'd like to thank everybody for coming this afternoon. Last week was quite a week for us. Well, the last couple of years have been quite difficult with this case. I couldn't get started talking about this case if I didn't say that we here at the Rowan County Sheriff's Office, we appreciate our partnerships in these cases. Crimes in these times are so difficult to solve and so technical in nature, we couldn't do it by ourselves. We're very thankful for the help we've received in this case, and I'm going to name the major players that have helped us, and then a blanket statement, and I hope I don't leave anybody out because that's the danger of recognizing individual agencies. But of course the FBI and the SBI have been with us from the start. North Carolina DMV, IRS, United States Attorney's Office, Middle District of North Carolina, Rowan County District Attorney Brandy Cook, the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office, SLED out of South Carolina, and numerous, I couldn't name them all, over the years we've had this case, of agencies throughout the country that have followed up for leads on us, and certainly the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who have attempted to put out pictures and information that would help us find Erica. So I'm going to follow a timeline a little bit, and most of you don't know a lot of it, but there's a couple places I want to stop. When we finish today, Captain Sifford will have a copy of this for you as you go out the back door. As you know, we started this investigation in 2013 when Erica was reported missing by a family member. Several stories surfaced. Detective Clint Malden had the case at that time. Erica was entered missing, and we started following up on the information we had. Shortly after that, DSS returned to the Parsons home and took custody of Sadie and Toby Parsons, and Casey and Sandy at this time made the statement they no longer would speak to investigators without an attorney. The FBI joined at this point in the investigation on August the 8th. On August the 9th, we had a meeting with the SBI, ourselves, and the FBI, and we formulated a strategy in this case. And we did it, knowing we were behind the 8 ball. And what we did at that time, the FBI was going to handle any fraud cases in their arena, and we would continue to investigate the missing persons and possibly any child abuse. That was the strategy we formulated that day, and we stayed pretty true to that course, as you know. August 11th, 12th, and 13th of 2013, the case kind of got national notoriety when the Parsons, Casey, and Sandy went to California and appeared on the Dr. Phil show. As you know, Sandy failed a polygraph test on that show, and Casey did not take one. August the 14th, we obtained a search warrant for the Parsons house at 218 Miller Chapel Road. The FBI evidence team executed a search warrant, and there were some items collected then. August the 16th, we received a phone call. The neighbor said it appeared the Parsons were going to move. This is still in 2013. We also obtained another search warrant for Sandy and Casey's storage building in China Grove. And then in late August of August 28th of 2013, Casey and Sandy moved to Fayetteville. October 21st and 22nd, different human remains, human remains detection K9 dogs made it Miller Chapel Road and several other locations in Rowan County. We used the K9s in different locations where we'd receive reports to see if the dogs would alert on anything. Nothing was located. A second search warrant at the address was executed at 270 Sutton Road on November 14th, 2013. And then we kind of had a cold period and picked back up with some things we needed to do in the investigation. March the 4th of 2014, we did a statewide check to see if Erica Lynn Parsons had by chance done anything through DMV, received a ticket, obtained a driver's license, or anything. In early July of 2014, Detective Malden resigned from the Sheriff's Office to go into work in another field, and the case was assigned to Detective Sarah Benfield. July 30th of 2014, Casey and Sandy were arrested in Fayetteville by the FBI on federal fraud charges. And in March of 2015, they were both sentenced to active sentences in federal prison for the fraud charges. So now we talked about that strategy, I did briefly, but then June 3rd of 2015, Sarah Benfield also left the Sheriff's Office to go take another job. So Lieutenant Detective Moose took over the case. The focus of the investigation at this time shifted to a probable death investigation with 2 investigative strategies again. One, if we ever located Erica's body, and preparing for a possible prosecution should we never find Erica or her remains. In November of 2015, November 2nd, the new owners of the home on Miller Chapel Road, where the Parsons previously lived, said they had found some bones on the property, and it was determined to be animal bones, not human remains. So from February of 2016 until May of 16, Lieutenant Moose looked through the case file and started re-interviewing and recontacting any potential witnesses, anybody in the family that we could talk with. Then June 29th of 2016, locations where possible human remains connected to this case and searched at locations around China Grove. You know, you probably heard from time to time rumors of wells being searched and different graves being dug up, and that's what was going on during those times, but nothing was fruitful in those searches. So through July and August of this year, this is where the case really picks up. We established a communication line with Sandy Parsons at Butner. Dialogue between Sandy Parsons and investigators continued over the next several weeks. This dialogue resulted in several trips to the area of Pageland, South Carolina by Rowan County investigators and FBI agents. Searches are conducted, but nothing was located. So September of this year, just recently, the case really jumped forward. Hard work by our district attorney, Brandy Cook, who is actually in trial preparations on a murder trial that will start next week, went through this case thoroughly and helped us determine and find a way to temporarily take Sandy Parsons into custody from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So we were able to take him to Chesterfield, South Carolina, Chesterfield County, Pageland, South Carolina, aided by the FBI, the SBI, Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office, and SLED. As previously released by the sheriff in Chesterfield County, the remains of Erica Parsons were located in a shallow grave just outside of Pageland. And it was not on any property rented or owned by any of the Parsons family members. This location was processed by the agents on the scene. The skeletonized human remains were then transported to the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office for identification examination. On Friday morning, September the 30th, they confirmed absolutely those were the remains of Erica Parsons. So that's a snapshot real quick. A couple little things I want to put out to you today that are very important, I think. We believe through this investigation that Erica was deceased long before she was even reported missing. Unfortunately, we never had a chance to find her alive, which was always our goal and our hope. Second, I want to clear up one thing. There have been no pleas, no agreements, no promises, anything to anybody that may or may become a suspect in this case. Nobody has been promised one thing. We're not in a position to do that, and it hadn't been done. And the burning question I know is, when is somebody going to be arrested? Well, that's where we are, in hopes that the medical examiner will soon give us information that'll lead us to the decision on what and what charges are appropriate, the most appropriate. And at this time we feel like all those charges will be a state matter here in Rowan County. And then the last thing I want to do in closing, there's been a lot of information put out about Erica's funeral and money. Well, what I want to tell you is Lyerly's Funeral Home out of Salisbury has agreed to donate their services to conduct the funeral. West Lawn Memorial Garden out of China Grove has donated a grave plot for Erica. What we'll ask the public to do, and anybody that's interested, to consider donating for her marker and what we hope to be an angel, because that was something she had a passion for, angels. And those donations can be made to Prevent Child Abuse Rowan, the 130 Woodson Street, Salisbury, North Carolina, 28144. And please, on those donations, make a notation of Erica's angel. And please understand, this has been a very tough, difficult case for us. Everybody involved in this case has children, and it touches you. I was there at the graveside when her body was recovered, and I'll tell you, there's some pretty tough officers had a pretty tough time. It's going on all of us, and we're getting there. We're not where we want to be with this case. We're glad to have found Erica. We're going to get her to a good resting spot, and then we're going to continue to seek justice with these partners that I've mentioned and these folks that are up here with me. We're going to see this case through and get it finished. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for all your coverage of this story, and it is an important story. Thank you.